Good evening. You are welcome to another edition of Import-Export Platform, Facebook Live from 3 Pest Trade Academy. My name is Dele Ayemibo. I will continue my conversation on how to export to Nigeria. The what, the why, and how to export to Nigeria. And I'm discussing the African Continental Free Trade Agreement. And I'm looking at this agreement and analyzing for those individuals who are within Nigeria or outside Nigeria that want to take advantage of the Nigerian market, and that Nigerian market defy all the economics principles and marketing strategy that you might imagine, that you should not get carried away with the population, look well into the population and see the purchasing power of the people, and you found out that half of the population are poor, living below poverty line. That means you cannot target. If you are doing mass market, don't overestimate the people that will be able to afford what you're buying. Find a way of discounting it. And my recommendation of discount is 50% discount. If the population is this amount, discount by 50% in your estimation and strategy and plan, so as to ensure that at the end of the day, you do not overestimate the potential of the market. In the morning, I talked about the fact that to scale in Nigeria, the product must be affordable, the product must be accessible, the product must be acceptable. That was where I left off in the morning. The product must be affordable. If you want to scale, the product must be affordable. That means everybody can afford it. It's less than 100 naira. The product must be accessible. That means you have a very strong distribution network. People can easily have access to that product. The product must be acceptable. That means people love it. They've embraced it. They've taken it in. They've accepted it. Nigeria is one of the 8 World Bank red zones. These are the only country on the planet where the GDP per capita, which is an indicator of the individual wealth of a nation, has fallen steadily over the last 20 years. Over the last 20 years, we have had growth and increase in earning, in income, in GDP, but for one reason or the other, over the last 20 years, our GDP per capita have fallen significantly and steadily in the last 20 years. According to the World Poverty Clock, maybe you are not aware that there is a World Poverty Clock. It's so interesting that there is a World Poverty Clock. According to the World Poverty Clock, there are over 90 million people living in extreme poverty. They live on less than $2 per day. They can't afford food. They have limited access to clean water and education, and they don't own a smartphone. The World Poverty Clock. The World Poverty Clock. In Nigeria, according to the World Poverty Clock, over 90 million Nigerians are in extreme poverty. Over 90 million Nigerians are in extreme poverty. You know, let me show you something. The World Poverty Clock, let me just show you so you can see the World Poverty Clock. And you see the way, can you see something? Can you see the way people are moving? The World Poverty Clock, India, Bangladesh, Sudan, India, Indonesia, Ethiopia, India, Venezuela, India, Bangladesh, Democratic Republic of Congo, Nigeria. Can you notice the way people live in extreme poverty And that is 8% of the world population. 8% of the world population. But do you notice something? About 51,000 have escaped from poverty today, and about 16,000 has fallen into poverty today. If you look at that video, that is from the World Poverty Clock. It's showing every day how many people are going into poverty and how many people are coming out of poverty. As of today, according to the World Poverty Clock, 51 million, and it's still increasing little by little, has escaped poverty, and 16 are falling into poverty. That means the world is making a lot of effort to lift people out of poverty. What I'm not sure of is how much Nigeria is doing. Can you see the race into poverty and the race out of poverty? Very interesting animation. Very interesting animation. All right, let's continue. According to the World Poverty Clock, there are 90 million Nigerians in extreme poverty. What does this mean? It basically means 90 million Nigerians are living less than $2 a day. That means they can afford food up to $500, up to 700 naira a day. They live less than $2 a day. They cannot afford food. By the time they go, they can't even go anywhere because they can't spend up to, they can't afford up to 700 naira a day. They cannot afford food. They have limited access to clean water, limited access to education, and they don't own a smartphone. And they don't own a smartphone. That's a big challenge for our world. More importantly is the fact that a lot of those people are Nigerians. 8% of the world population are in extreme poverty. Out of that 8%, Nigeria, our dear Nigeria, is housing 90 million of them. 90 million of them. That's a serious issue. In the last 20 years, total wealth grew everywhere, but per capita income did not. That means the wealth is not evenly distributed. Number one, the wealth is growing, but the population also is growing at an alarming rate that does not make the people to feel the impact of the wealth being growing. Let me see if I can get the country in extreme poverty. If you check this, look at the country in extreme poverty. You see those countries in red? See those countries? You can see Venezuela there. You can see Liberia. Nigeria, 94 million people in extreme poverty. Liberia, 2.4 million. Venezuela, 9.3 million. Niger, 13.6 million. Chad, 5.4 million. Sudan, 12.1 million. Yemen, 17.46 million. Madagascar, 20 million. South Africa, 13 million. Zambia, 8 million. Angola, 5 million. Democratic Republic of Congo, 60 million. Congo, 2 million. No wonder Nigeria is called the poverty capital of the world. The next to Nigeria is Congo, and Congo is horrible, horrible, horrible. 60 million. 60 million. Now, why am I showing all this? To let you know that the fact that Nigeria have a lot of poor people is the reason why you cannot just assume that because Nigeria have a lot of population, there are a lot of money to be made in Nigeria. You can't assume that. You can't assume that. You can't assume that. You cannot assume that. If you look at the population of the world, China has the highest population, followed by India, followed by United States, followed by Indonesia, followed by Brazil, followed by Pakistan, and Nigeria is the next. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Seventh most populous country in the world, Nigeria. The most populous black nation in the world, Nigeria. So we have the population, no doubt. And the population of Nigeria is 2.6% of the world population. India, 17.9%. China, 18.5%. US, 4.3%. Indonesia, 3.5%. Brazil, 2.8%. Pakistan, 2.6%. Bangladesh, 2.2%. Most of the European countries, it's only Germany that is 1.1. Most of them are very low. But Nigeria, now the percentage of consumer expenditure spent on food that was consumed in their home, the percentage of consumer in Nigeria, 50%. 50% of the consumer in Nigeria spend more than half on food. I said this before, but why am I saying it again? Just to put in perspective the fact that Nigeria is a good market, but might not be the great market. Might not be the great market. All right, let's continue. In entering an export market, there are a number of strategies. In entering an export market, there are a number of strategies that are available as a company seeks to internationalize. These include exporting, number one. That's one mode of entry. Number two, establishing a sales subsidiary abroad. Number three, licensing. Licensing. Establish a production subsidiary abroad. You can also do what is called joint venture in establishing that sales subsidiary. Though an approach beginning with exporting, progressing into opening a sales subsidiary, and finally expanding a production facility is very common. Exporting, I ship the good into that market. Sales subsidiary, I partner with someone to produce. I partner with someone to sell. And then finally, I go into that market to produce there and sell there. All of them is internationalization, only that one of them is export, the other one is much more than export. Some people call it export mode, partnership mode, investment mode. Export mode, partnership mode, investment mode. At the export mode, Amanda are exporting directly or indirectly. And I'll be talking about that later on. I'll come to that later on. Let me just continue. Though, like I said earlier, an approach beginning with exporting, progressing to opening a sales subsidiary, and finally establishing a production facility is common. And any company any given company may start with any of the entry strategies and go on to other stages. Some firms use different strategies for different markets. Only exporting or licensing to others, to some smaller markets, while establishing sales subsidiary and or production facility in larger markets. An essential first step in planning and strategy development for entry into export market is the company's need to assess its readiness to enter foreign market. An essential first step in planning and strategy development for entry into export market is the company's need to assess its own readiness to enter the foreign market. Any firm, regardless of its size and experience, must determine just how much I'm ready. Just how much I'm ready. Remember, some firms use different strategy for different markets, only exporting and licensing to some smaller market while establishing a subsidiary or setting up a facility in a bigger market. They do export or work with a partner or give a license in a smaller market for someone to produce. But when it's big enough, they set up a subsidiary or they go in there themselves to produce. What is critical and important in entry to the market is that we should be able to check up what is the competitive capability, motivation for going into the Nigerian market, commitment of owners and top management, the readiness of the product for the foreign market, the skill owned by the staff of the company, the knowledge that have been acquired by the staff of the company, the resources required, and then experience and training. Experience and training. Entering into export market is not a joke. It requires a lot of effort. Whoever is involved must be very serious and must be ready to do what he needs to do. If he is not unable to do what he needs to do, you know what will happen? Such an individual will have a big challenge. Very, very big challenge. Like I said earlier, do you know that different markets demand different level of adjustment? Different level of adjustment. If you have followed what I've done in the last few days, you will have seen some peculiarity about the Nigerian market. Some very serious peculiarity about the Nigerian market. And you must decide how you want to enter into the market. I'll be making some proposals. And I'm not just talking to anybody that wants to enter the Nigerian market. I'm not talking to you even if you are looking for market abroad. Because being able to understand those challenges and overcome them become extremely important. Before I talk about the barrier, which I think I'll talk about tomorrow, let me round off with this. The export market you want to go into, you need to identify and measure the opportunity in that market. Do a preliminary screening, estimating the market potential, estimating the sales potential, segmenting the market. How big is the size of the total market? For you, how big is people that will likely buy from you? Sales potential. And then number 3, you know, the total market size gives you an idea of how much your sales can also grow eventually. But you need to know who are those that will buy. But you must also know who are the potential market segment you are looking at, because that will help you to estimate your sales potential. Developing an export marketing strategy. Setting export objectives. Having identified and measured opportunity. Setting export objectives. Number 1. Planning marketing mix. What is the product you want to sell? At what price will be good for you to sell it in the market? What is the channel? Like if you are entering into Nigeria, I've told you already, the product must be mass market. Else, you have to be very strategic if you are looking for other people in other levels. Mass market. Number 2, the price. The price. The price. Number 3, the channel. The channel. That's the way you want to sell. The channel of selling. And then, how do you want to promote? How do you want to distribute? In Nigeria, distribution is really done by trucks. It's better you have people in different states, depending on the nature of your product. If it's something supermarket can take, you might want to talk to ShopRite. Look for supermarket that have branches in different part of the country to be able to sell the product. Adoption of strategic export plan. Having done your plan and adopted it, then operation. What is your sales forecast? What's your sales budget? What is the sales quota for export? What is your production schedule? How much inventory do you want to keep for the export market? How much labor additional do you require? How much will you be spending to promote promotional budget and the total financial budget, and how much are you estimating as profit? You must now do your operational plan. If I'm targeting a particular market segment, and that market segment have about 1 million people, and I'm saying, okay, out of this 1 million people that can buy this product, I want to target 100,000 units, people. I want to sell 100,000 of this every month. What is the cost of selling it? How much labor addition will I need? How much will I have to keep? How long will I have to hold inventory because of shipping to that destination? What level of promotion do I need to do to reach these 100 people or 100,000 people? And if I do it based on all my sales projection and my cost projection, how much profit am I likely going to get? I'm basically saying that the export market in Nigeria is a huge opportunity. Might not be as great as we think, but anyone that enter with sound strategy will be able to get advantage of the market. Remember, this program is designed basically to help individuals who are either not Nigerian, but looking at the Nigerian market, or Nigerian, trying to take advantage of their own market, which many of them have neglected. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? Can you imagine? Can you imagine? Our own market, foreigners are taking advantage of it. Much food is in the tillage of the poor. Much food is in the tillage of the poor. Why? He's poor, but he has opportunity, but he's unable to take advantage of that opportunity. Why? Ignorance. But what we are trying to do with this program is to make people make sense of the Nigerian market and enjoy the benefit of being a Nigerian. It shouldn't be foreigners that should be taking advantage of our market. They've done that for long. It's time for us to rise up to occasion and take advantage of our own market. And take advantage of our own market. And benefit from our own market. Thank you very much for listening to me again today. Tomorrow is public holiday in Nigeria. I'm hoping I'll be able to have a session tomorrow. I'm hoping, because of a lot of other engagement as well as that public holiday. If not, then we'll resume back on Wednesday. But if it's, then I'll be discussing barriers to entering into export market generally, and I will narrow that barrier down to the Nigerian context. I will narrow that barrier down to the Nigerian context. What are the barriers that hinder businesses from benefiting from huge opportunity. Remember, we are still talking about AFCFTA, and we are basically talking about how Nigerians can take a huge advantage of the AFCFTA. I'm hoping that we will indeed take advantage of AFCFTA, and when we take advantage of AFCFTA, you know what will happen in Africa? We are going to significantly reduce that poverty and grow the income. Thank you very much for listening, and bye for now.